bigs of West Virginia. Can you talk about what impresses you about their guard play?
Well, regardless of who they have out there, they do a great job of hawking the ball, and I think they're pressuring and pressing more than what they did the first time we played them. And so they keep bodies fresh. They hawk the ball, and they're certainly talented that they can go get their own, late in the clock or something like that. But they're quick and athletic, and I think their team resembles West Virginia of 3 years ago or 2 years ago a lot more today than it did even when we played them the first time.
I was talking to you guys about that, just the difference between preparing for a team the first time and then the second time. I mean, does it change dramatically, or does it depend? Or
no, I mean the first time I don't think we did a very good job preparing our guys what was going to hit them. It wasn't their pressure near as much as it was their rebounding that wore us out. And you can try to simulate some things, but it's hard to do that. Obviously, in 2 days practice time to simulate how hard they go to the glass and how physical they are when they go to the glass. So I think that was eye-opening. So hopefully it'll be easier to get that point across this time. But they're always not an easy prep game because of the way that they don't let you run your stuff. So players have to make plays as opposed to running plays when you play West Virginia.
how about in general, like first half of the conference run through and then second time through?
For us,
yeah,
I actually think I said this before, and after I said it and I thought about it, I thought it was one of the few intelligent things that I usually come up with. I think the first half you probably prepare for your opponent more, and the second half you probably prepare yourself more because you have a feeling on how they're going to guard you and how they're going to try to attack you, so you make your own adjustments within what you do. But the first half, you go out and, okay, this is what they do, and our guys will have some recollection of that. But the biggest thing is, how do we score based on how we think that they'll attack us, and so we got to get better, and we have to work on ourselves, not just on them.
Coach, it's easy to look at this race and say it's just you guys and Baylor at this point because of where the standings are. When you played through this thing one time through, does it feel like you two are head and shoulders above everyone else?
No, I don't think we're head and shoulders above everyone else. I think our records give the appearance of that. I don't think there's that much difference in the teams. I think Baylor's probably as good a team as we've had in our league since I've been in the league on a February 8th or whatever today is. What is today? 10th. Okay, I'm only 2 days off. So I think that Baylor is probably the best February 10th team that we've ever had in our league since I've been here. They're better than Tech was last year on February 10th. Oklahoma State would be the only other team I could compare them to, and that was in 2004. Texas had a good run where they got out to a 10-0 starting league or whatnot one year, but I think this is the best team at this juncture. But I also know that it's a long season and there's ebbs and flows, and I'm hopeful that somebody will play good against Baylor, including us, and give them something to really challenge them. But the reality of it is the league race isn't over by any stretch. But Baylor is well in front of us and well in front of everybody else. You got what, 8 games to play, and they got a 4-game lead on third place. I mean, that's hard to come back from. But it has happened before. I think we were 10-0 my second year here in the league, and ended up tying for the league race at 12-4. So that kind of stuff can happen. With us, we're a game and a half or 2 games out just because they've already won on our home court. So I can see how people look at it saying it's a 2-game race, but the other teams in our league will determine who the champion is still. So that means, obviously it's not over.
There's no secrets this late in the season, in the conference particularly. What are other teams doing to Oscar to be the most effective against him?
I don't know that anybody's been most effective. So against OU, what do you get? 12 and 9. Played 20 minutes. You put 35 minutes next to that, and it's an 18 and 12 game. So I think so much of it depends on minutes, depends on foul issues, He obviously wore us out. The first half we played him, he's by far the best player in the game, by far. But Doak was the best player in the game in the second half, if I remember correctly. So, you got to keep a body on him, got to try to keep him away from the basket, and certainly you got to keep him off the glass.
You guys are retiring Marcus's jersey. Do you have a particular memory that stands out from your time?
Well, I've got a few or several that would stand out with Mook. On the court, I would say the thing that would probably stand out the most is how smart he was and how competitive and smart that the twins were. They're ridiculously bright, unbelievable IQ. And I've only had 4 or 5 like that. Aaron Miles you could throw in that category, and Devontae was like that, but there hasn't been very many. So that would always stand out. But the biggest thing that they did, they made it where it was interesting coming to work most every day. And I mean that from a practice standpoint. I mean that from all standpoints. I love coaching them, and they say young people, if you're around enough of them, it'll keep you young, and they certainly played a big role in aging me, but still yet keeping me young at thought while they were here.
You guys, this one's on ESPN Plus again this week. I think we haven't talked about that in a little while. How's that?
You haven't been over here.
Right, but it was a big topic early on, and now you're back on this. What sort of feedback have you had the last month or so with that? Has it been a thing at all?
I don't think we've been on ESPN Plus
in a while.
So I haven't. We've gotten a lot of feedback over time, and I believe we have 2 games left on it. So our fan base, if they can't get it, obviously will not be happy this Wednesday. Hopefully they can figure out a way to get it, because nobody likes it as far as not having the people that support you be able to watch. Nobody likes that, but this is a conference decision, and I said this before too. I think we can all kind of jump to conclusions on how this is, but still, it still needs to play out to see, what it's going to be like over time. And I think whenever you go through major changes, there's usually some kinks to work out on a lot of different things. And I'm not making excuses for anybody because, I've been pretty outspoken on it. But hopefully our fan base and West Virginia's fan base can see it, because it should obviously be a very competitive game.
Have you figured out at home yet how to do it? You watch the ESPN Plus?
I don't watch it at home, so I do have it in my office now, so I've got it figured out.
Any word on Jalen final decision?
Not officially, no. Not officially.
You started 2 bigs when you played last time. You're playing 4 around 1 a lot.
Yeah.
Because of their size and rebounding, are you looking at the possibility of having to play 2 bigs in this game?
You
at
know
some
what?
point?
That's a good question. By far the most brightest one anybody's asked. We are looking at trying to maybe do some more of that. I'm not saying we'll start that way, but I think depending on foul situations, I think it would benefit us to have 2 bigs out there, at least a larger portion of the game than what we've been playing with in the past. Yeah.
What do you think about how Marcus played the other day at TCU?
I thought he's fine. I thought it was probably as average an offensive game as he's had in a while, but he was still terrific defensively. I mean, you can say what you want to, and you can look at numbers, but numbers never tell the story with him. And after watching the tape, he was still pretty good, even though I didn't think it was his best on the offensive end.
Does he care at all about going scoreless that day?
No, I wouldn't think so at all. We had Mario Chalmers here. I told the guys a story. We were beating somebody here in our league bad, and 8 minutes left in the game, and I run a play for Mario, and I said, I want you to shoot it. He said, why? I said, Mario, you hadn't taken a shot the whole game yet. You hadn't taken a shot. He said, I don't need to take a shot. I don't need to score. And I think Marcus had that same attitude as well.
This is a little off topic, but you guys have Chancellor Girard at the Senate tomorrow talking about the athlete compensation issue. What are your hopes for that committee? And I guess, what do you think about having Chancellor Girard as a representative?
I actually have no preconceived hopes on what comes out of that, because I'll be honest, I'm not schooled on exactly what they're trying to how they're trying to come to a resolution or whatever. I still think it's very early in the process. And I don't think that anybody out there has the perfect answer for it, because there's you can certainly go against the grain with whatever anybody's particular idea is, saying, well, if that happens, then what about these unintended consequences or whatnot? So it'll be interesting to see. But I think if I'm not mistaken, Senator Moran is kind of leading the charge or the committee on this, and so it's probably natural that he had somebody from Kansas, be involved. And I would think the chancellor is looking forward to playing a role in which we make and create positive change. So I think that he'll be excited about that.
Your defensive numbers continue to improve. Is it becoming more of a sense of pride? Your guys defensively are winning games without making shots, kind of like some of your old teams?
Yeah. I think so. I think we're better defensively than we were a month ago. And there's a lot of reasons for it. One, guys are understanding roles and what we're trying to do better, but also, let's call it like it is, Doak's been unbelievable. He covers up for a lot of mistakes, and you can certainly see the difference when Doak's not in the game. But you get Doak and Marcus, there's two elite individual defenders that are also great team defenders. So I do think we're getting better. I don't think we're as good as we can be, but in order to do that, you got to finish possessions, and we haven't rebounded the ball like we need to rebound the ball to be elite. But I do think there's a sense of pride on that, and that was evident against TCU. You labor around, and then all of a sudden, another team can't get a shot, and you probably scored 12 points in transition, and probably all of them were off steals. So just baskets you don't have to earn.
All right, Coach, thank you.
Thanks so much,
All right, guys.
guys.
All right.